it's Anthony back with another video here on Single and Placing. Hi, I hope you're having a fantastic day, weekday, weekend, week, month, evening, morning, overnight, all of that good stuff. We are here with week 2 of Summer with the Masters. Yay! I hope you all have been enjoying yourselves during this event thus far, and this is actually the second week of the event, but my first week posting a Summer with the Masters specific video, so I'm super duper excited. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of a whip and chat, but it's more of I guess that's what we'll call it. It's a whip and chat, but it's a little bit different. Essentially, what I'm going to be doing is talking to you a little bit about the life and times and artwork of the artist for this kit that I'm working on. And this is Lady with a Fan from Gustav Klimt. So we're going to be chatting, but we're going to be chatting all about Gustav Klimt, learn a little bit more about his life and a little bit more about this particular image. In between that, I'm going to be cutting in and out some time lapses of me working on this kit. I finished the bottom row here of this kit, so that's all done, and I filmed some time lapse, so we'll kind of intersperse with that, so you'll get a little bit of a look at the kit getting worked up, and then we'll come back in, talk a little bit more about some facts and just some more fun info about Gustav Klimt and this kit, and then we'll just kind of rotate in and out of that for a little bit. So it's a chat, but there's a specific topic, a theme around Gustav Klimt. But before we get into all that, I wanted to talk a little bit about the accessories and stuff that I'm using. I'm just gonna fuss with the camera. 1 second. Okay, perfect. So as far as what I'm using here today, you can see my little row of washi tape here. This is a really cute washi tape from Scotch. It's the Scotch brand washi tape, so we have that there. I'm going to be using a cat-proof diamond tray that I got fairly recently, so I'm going to be using this kind of aside from a little bit that I used it on this particular kit for this first row, this will be my first kind of big foray into using this on an official project. So I'm excited to use that. So I've got my cat-proof tray here, and then it's got that closable, flexible lid, which is really nice. I've also got my funnel, which I picked up from Bella Art de Nicole. This is a 3D printed sunflower funnel, so I've got that for when I switch colors. My diamond painting pen is from Enablers Outpost. This is my current favorite Enablers Outpost pen. It's one of their thick with 2 or 3 C's pens. It's got a single placer and a 5 placer on it. Those are both metal multi-placers. And I'm using a mud in that, or a putty, and I'm using the Banana Split Mary Mud right now for this particular diamond painting session. So that's kind of everything I need to keep moving and grooving on this project. I've been standing up while I did this little intro, so let me take a seat. Let me get myself comfortable. We may throw in a little time lapse right now, and then we'll get into all things Gustav Klimt. 1 second. Dokie, so let me get myself just settled in here, fix the chair. I hope everyone's doing well. Make sure to leave in the comments how things are going, how your work on your old master's project is going if you are working on one, or if you're still planning on getting started. You have plenty of time. The event runs from June 1st through July 31st, so we've got some time to still you've got some time to still jump in with the project if you so choose. Keep in mind that in the description box you'll have a link to some suggested shops if you're still shopping for an old master's kit. And then if you haven't registered for the grand prize or registered for the event in general, you'll have a link in the description box to a Google form where you can go and complete that. That'll register you for the grand prize and just kind of general registration for the event. It does not need to be completed at any time other than by the end of the event. So you have until July 31st to complete that form. So no rush if you haven't done it yet. Just make sure you try to get that done before the end of the event. So, all right. So I guess let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and pick my first color here, which is X. The one thing that I am noticing with this kit is the fact that it doesn't have a paper legend, these Diamond Dots kits, so you do have to use a legend that's printed on the canvas. I have a thin washi tape here, so it's not that big of an issue. I can still read all the symbols, but it takes a little bit of getting used to having to look over onto the canvas each time, but it's still okay. Okay, so we've got our color here. Hi, Apollo. Okay, so let's get this first color port and then we will jump into it. All right, first time, I guess I'm trying to figure out the best way for me to position my cat-proof tray. I think I want to do like that. Yes, that should work. Okay, awesome. So, yeah, Gustav Klimt. I guess just a little bit of information about why I personally chose this kit. Did I pick the right color? Yes. I had never really been a huge fan necessarily of, I mean, this goes back even further than Gustav Klimt. I've never been like a big fine art fan or like, you know, collecting prints or being super interested in this genre of artwork in general. But then after discovering old masters and just kind of seeing what was out there, I ended up really falling for Gustav Klimt because of the high use, at least in, you know, the images that you see in diamond painting, of gold and very vibrant kind of rich hues is kind of what drew me to Gustav Klimt as an artist. And this particular image, I'd say out of between like the three that Diamond Dots carries, of course you can get customs done in a lot of his artwork, but the three ones that I see most frequently are Woman in Gold, The Kiss, and then this one, which is Lady with a Fan or Lady with Fan. And so I ended up selecting this one for Summer with the Masters, mainly because it's one that I hadn't seen completed as often as I've seen some of the other ones. I know Katie, you know, co-host Katie for Summer with the Masters over at Diamonds and Washi. She finished Woman in Gold for Summer with the Masters last year. I saw a lot of people working on that this year. I've seen a lot of people doing The Kiss, but not as many people working on Lady with Fan or Lady with a Fan. So I decided to give this one a shot, even though I have all three in my stash. This is the one I decided to go with. And another reason is I just really liked this, even though this is pretty heavy with the golds and yellows, it has some more brighter poppy colors that gave me more of a summer kind of vibe or feel as compared to maybe some of the other ones. So I was like, well, that's perfect for Summer with the Masters as a summery kit. So please pardon me while I keep practicing using these cat-proof trays and using the spout. It's just a little bit new to me, having a spout that's got like a little lip on it. I'm used to one that's just right in the center here. And since I'm left-handed, I feel like sometimes I struggle with figuring out how to use trays. But there was just a little bit of that color here. I guess one other thing that I did want to mention is, as far as tools that I'm using, it's not necessarily a tool, it's an enhancement, but I do have a number of specialty drills that I'll be incorporating onto this kit. I'm not sure how many you'll see in this section. This is a lot of kind of that background yellow and gold, but I have 9 sparklers from DP with Sparklers, which is a sponsor of Summer with the Masters, along with some other brands here, Enablers Outpost, Cat-Proof Diamond Trays. So I'm using 9 of those. You can probably see a little bit of them here if the camera is showing you the bottom here. There's some light pink, some rose gold, some fire sparklers, some black ghost. So 9 different sparklers plus the 2 metallics that came in the kit plus the 2 ABs that came in the kit. This is going to be a very glitzy image, but I think it's going to come together nicely. So just wanted to mention that too. That is another tool that I'm using. So, all right. Enough of that, enough of the preamble. Let's dive into it. So Gustav Klimt. Gustav Klimt was born in 1862 near Vienna, Austria, and that's pretty much where he lived his entire life. He began artistry and painting, illustration at a pretty young age. He was doing super lifelike drawings from photographs or even just from, from scratch. As early as 17 is when he started doing it kind of professionally. So kind of a young prodigy, I suppose. And his brother, Ernst, was also a well-regarded artist. And I thought that was kind of funny that Gustav's brother's name is Ernst. And my other kit that I'm working on for Summer with the Masters is done by an artist named Ernst. Not his brother, but a different Ernst. That's Ernst Haeckel. Also German. So I thought that was interesting. I was like, oh wait, they said Ernst. So and I will list my sources. I pulled my sources for this information from a couple of different places, including Wikipedia. I think there's a website called like arthistory.org or something along those lines. And then there was a couple of YouTube videos that I watched that detailed kind of the life and times of Gustav Klimt that helped me to gather my notes that I have here. So keep that in mind. I will list I'll cite all of my sources in the description box if you want to check out and do a deeper dive or watch some of those videos for yourself. But yeah, Gustav Klimt was kind of an early talent. He ended up going and completing his schooling in 1883, so he was 21 when he was finished with art school. And he immediately, like right out of the gate, decided to open up his own art house alongside his brother Ernst and then one of their friends or companions from school. So the three of them got together and opened up an art house there near Vienna. So one of the big works that the trio did kind of early on, 3 years into starting their art house, was doing a fresco or a ceiling painting at the I think it's called Berg House or Buchter. I should have wrote that better, but anyway, it's a I believe it's it's an institution in Vienna. Let me look it up real quick. I should have spelled that better. One second. Okay, I should always have my phone next to me or my iPad next to me when I do these little research videos. That way, if I spelled something wrong or I need clarification from my own notes, I have it there. But yes, it was a fresco or ceiling painting done for the Berg Theater, which is like the national theater of Austria in Vienna. It's listed as one of the most important German language theaters and one of the most important theaters in the world. So they did a fresco there, the trio of them. They worked on that painting from 1886 to 1888, and they were given several awards and accolades for that painting. It was done in a more traditional kind of think like Renaissance, more kind of more realism, but it's done in more of that kind of traditional style of artwork, that pre-modernism artwork. So it was very, showing a lot of love because it was just like, this is what we know. This is traditional artwork, and they executed it pretty well. But even at that stage, I think there was some burgeoning of some modernist ideas and some wanting to kind of step away from the common artwork or the traditional artwork that was expected to be seen in that part of the world, in Austria. Even when other parts of Europe and other parts of the world were kind of turning more to this more kind of more modern, think of like Art Deco, Art Nouveau, more kind of like a bohemian-ish style of artwork was starting to take shape in a lot of other areas. Where Gustav Klimt resided in Vienna, they held on to that traditional style a little bit longer. So he became a little bit more ahead of his curve once he started experimenting more with modern art. But yeah, he was asked to do another fresco, at the University of Vienna a few years later. But at that time, he was really starting to explore that more modernism and really moved into that realm. And even within his kind of art house and I'll talk a little bit about it later, what they ended up developing around this time, he was even pushing the envelope for his group of kind of bohemian artists or kind of burgeoning bohemian artists. So anyway, he was asked to do another fresco for the University of Vienna, but citing censorship and a lack of creative freedom, he ended up abandoning the project, but still creating the paintings. So it was a series, I believe, of 3 different images that he did, and each of them represented a different pillar that the university stood on, so like justice or whatever those are. I'm going to do another color here. A05, okay, perfect. But rather than being more traditional, like they were probably expecting because of what they did for the theater, these were much more interpretive pieces that represented the things that they were asking him to paint. So it wasn't like a direct representation or a glorifying. It was more of a critical eye of certain topics, and it just required the viewer to maybe think about their stance on medicine and science, and a lot of basically some of the key pillars of this university. So the images were panned by the university. They did not accept them as something that they would display on their behalf or to represent the university. So, but he kept painting them. He did, I believe, it was like 1 a year. And even though each time they'd say, no, this is awful, we would never, we hate this, he would say, okay, but he'd still continue working on them. And I believe he ended up selling the collection to a private buyer. He was really lucky in the fact that even though his more modernist ideas were not widely accepted in the kind of academic space of artistry in Austria or in Vienna of the time, he was at the right place in the right time, in the sense that there was a lot of private collectors, more modern, new money coming into that area at the time. And so there was a lot of interest in his new style of artwork, which was kind of cool. So yeah, I'm going to quickly just do a little interlude just to jump in about this kit. So this is, like I said, Lady with a Fan or Lady with Fan. This is a 67 by 67 centimeter round drill canvas. I will try to insert a little shot of the full image so you can see what it looks like, since we're just focusing on this one section. But yeah, like I said, I've completed the bottom row. This has 40 colors total, and I replaced 9, so 31 colors are original that came with the kit, and they included, as I said, 2 metallics and 2 ABs, and it's working up really nicely. I mean, I'm just kind of into this second row here, so I haven't spent a ton of time with this canvas, but I've spent enough time to know that I really enjoy working with these drills. I believe these are resin round drills that Diamond Dots utilizes, and they just have a lot of sparkle and shine. And then, of course, the addition of the sparklers from DP with Sparklers, those glass drills, just enhance it that much more. But unfortunately, this section is it still has a lot of interest. I really like it, but it's a little bit more boring than the previous sections I've worked on that just had like a ton of blues and reds and pinks and all the colors. This is a little bit more muted in this particular part of the image, but I still think it looks really nice. Apollo? Apollo? Sorry, I'm trying to keep an eye on the pup while we chat. Hey, get out of here. Get out of here. Go on, go on. It's not to timestamp this or to stray away from the topic, but it's been very warm here in Colorado, and so he's been drinking a ton of water, and he was going and sitting outside in the shade, and I turned the AC off to film this, so he's a little rambunctious because it's going to start warming up here. But anyway, I just wanted to quickly, chat a little bit about this particular kit that I'm working on, and no struggles, no issues. The only thing that I've been noticing, and it hasn't become a problem just yet, is there's quite a number of drills or colors where the drills are kind of stuck together. You can kind of see that there, where a lot of them are just kind of clumped together. So there are enough loose ones here for me to work with it, but as I get further along in the kit, I'm going to have to figure that out. And typically what I would do is just put them in a container and just shake them really, really good, and that tends to break them up. They also make drill grinders, I think, and some other products to help break up drills, but I found if I just put them in just an empty one of these containers and just shake, 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 then I'm totally fine. So yeah, well, let's go ahead and cut over to a little bit of time lapse of me working on one of these bottom row sections. And when we come back, we'll keep talking about Gustav Klimt, some of his other controversial things, and then I've got some notes, like I said, on this particular artwork. So let's cut over to past Anthony working on this bottom section. Okay, we'll be back. Okie dokie. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little interlude. I'm gonna, obviously I haven't edited this yet, but in post I'm gonna try to throw some music in there too for you to enjoy, but hopefully that shows off some of the other colors that are prominent in this kit, and you'll see more throughout this video. But we just moved on to our next color, and this is one of the two ABs that are provided here. This particular AB is done in kind of like, I hope you can see it, but like, it looks like little pearls. The other AB that's in this kit, I believe, is actually more faceted. Yeah, so this red or orangish AB actually is more faceted. These are just like a smooth pearl. So they've even provided some variants in like the texture of their ABs to give a slightly different look to them. And I really love these. These are some really cool ABs. Like I said, they look like little pearls. They can be a little bit fussy to place. They really like to stay stuck to putty and wax and stuff, but if you can get a good rhythm down, or you have a little bit of an angle that you place them with, they're actually not that bad. But I have found myself fussing with them a little bit more than maybe I would with other drills. But the effect makes it worth it. I love this kind of pearlescence that they provide. So anyway, so Klimt moved on to become a more free-spirited and like truly bohemian artist during and after that kind of guffaw with the University of Vienna, and just really looked to embrace that more modernist side, that kind of Art Nouveau side of himself, and just started to explore that artwork a little bit more, spurred on by kind of the bourgeoisie of the area. He moved away from doing commissions for I guess as much commissions from like more from institutions, and he started doing more commissions from private collectors, because that's where the money was, and that's where the freedom of expression was for him. So he was really known for, in that wealthy sector, for his eye-catching female images, is kind of where he got a little bit more renowned, or even more kind of ostracized from the academic artwork or painting world, because he really was able to breathe a lot of expression and sexuality and femininity into his images, his female subjects, whereas in traditional artwork, at least in that area in that time, from what I researched, that it was females almost always had kind of more of a stoic look about them, or were there more to help tell the story of the other subject in. So they were not usually like a main focal point, and if they were always represented as being kind of like a beacon of fertility, or a beacon of maternity, as opposed to a beacon of sexuality, or that type of thing. So Klimt, along with his more bohemian and kind of modernist friends in the area, kind of brought that to pass in that area. And so once again, he was taken less seriously from the academic standpoint, but was also just more valuable or more desired by some of the wealthier in the area, especially women who wanted their likeness done by Gustav Klimt. So yeah. So he returned to larger and public projects later on. He did a project with an amazing series of paintings that represented a Beethoven symphony, and it's regarded as like just an amazing piece. It's really big too. I saw a couple of videos of it. But it's not called a fresco. It's the one that's on a wall. I think it has a different technical term, but I just wrote it down as quote-unquote painting. But that was kind of a big return to that kind of public space. I think it was a gallery or a concert hall where that was painted, but that was kind of his big splash. But he was able to embrace those modern techniques and modern stylings, and this time around it was widely accepted. So it's just interesting, he was just a little bit ahead of his time throughout his life, and the public eye would kind of catch up, and then he would be renowned again, and then he'd step outside of that and then get called out for being pushing the envelope too much, and then they'd catch up again. So he was always just a couple steps ahead of his peers and of his environment, which is kind of cool. So Klimt, around 1906, Klimt began a series of really beautiful floral landscapes and portraits. I'm not sure if you've seen these. I'll do my best to incorporate as much as I can throughout, just the little screenshots to help tell this story. But Klimt began an obsession with doing some landscapes and intricate floral paintings. And what's funny is the majority of these were painted while he was vacationing in different vacation homes in and around Austria, but also his own garden that he, I guess, intentionally let overgrow. So it was just like super thick and lush and tons of just kind of wildflowers and stuff. Like he wouldn't groom it, and then he'd paint these really intense floral photos that are just like giant rose bushes and this and that, and it's all from his own private garden where he drew that inspiration, which I thought was really cool. So he then began his golden phase around that time, moving into 1907, and essentially that's often the term used, or golden era is often used when we start to talk about the famous pieces, the ones that we all know. So he started off with Woman in Gold. It's probably the most famous of his golden era paintings, or his gold phase paintings. Just a very incredible image. It's often one of the most, or regarded as the most, or one of the most valuable paintings that has hit the market or hits the market. It's just awesome. It's gorgeous. If you've never seen Woman in Gold, and I'll throw in a screenshot of it, it's great. It makes a great diamond painting. It makes a great custom. It makes a great print. It's just awesome. It's an awesome image. So we have Woman in Gold, and then The Kiss is also another incredibly popular one too. So A lot of his artwork did not survive World War II, but I believe his Gold Era images did. I'm not sure about Lady with the Fan. I'd have to double check. I do know that his paintings that he did for the university did not survive, and so he did he did those. We have recorded of those paintings, but the originals have been lost, and then some work has been done to colorize them in modern times, and you can actually find a couple of those done as cross-stitch patterns, so you could do a cross-stitch conversion of like a lost Gustav Klimt, which would be really cool. It looks like I missed this one X here, so I'm going to have to go back. Oh, actually, I haven't done the X's yet. Never mind. We are good. You'll see that I do like a combination of single and multi-placing. There's not a lot of opportunity for more than like 3 to 4 placing here. Let's see. We've got 4, 2, 1. So yeah, not a ton of opportunity for a like heavy multi-placing. It's a little scattered, but I kind of like it. Okay, so although incredibly popular and prolific for his time, Klimt was known for the high cost of his portraits. He was very desirable within that wealthy set, and he knew it. He did have some longer than average turnaround time for his artwork. For a variety of reasons, he seemed like he bounced around from project to project quite often, and another thing that was often a complaint of Gustav Klimt is he would be working on multiple projects at once. So he'd take all these commissions, have all these canvases going, so it just took a little bit longer for each person to get theirs because he was splitting his time so much. But I think that's interesting that he had the kind of mind that could kind of turn focus from a major piece to a major piece. So, yeah. Okie dokie. So, yeah, taking a little bit of a step back, like I said, back right around 1897, after completing his schooling, he spearheaded that group, or that art house. Essentially, it was, even though it was an artistic house, and that's kind of what it was sold as to, anybody just kind of casually asking, it was more of a formal statement of this group of artists seceding or removing themselves from that traditional academic style, kind of proclaiming that they are going to essentially kind of transcend that. And even though a couple of their first projects, I think probably for the income, were more traditional style, they quickly became more of a modernist, experimental group or faction within the art world, or the artistic space in Vienna. Even within that particular group, or that art house, there was still different levels of who's still a little bit more traditional, like who's really pushing the envelope. You can only imagine, someone's got to be the most, experimental of the experimental folks. And so Klimt was often considered in that group of the more experimental, whereas some of his colleagues, or I guess kind of friends within this group, were still a little bit more traditional leaning, but were kind of testing the waters, so to speak. So there was, I would only assume, some tension within that group and different factions and stuff like that. But Klimt seemed to be kind of the leader of this group of artists, and pushed the envelope, I think, well into his, later on in his career in life. So, yeah, Klimt was definitely a pioneer when it came to the portrayal, like I said, of that female form. One of the interesting kind of tidbits that I learned is this was around the same time that a lot of other, I guess, notable for various reasons, people were living and working and getting into politics in Austria. So it's just a very interesting culmination of artists and politicians and other characters, I'll say. but there is speculation that one of the reasons why Klimt's artwork kind of transitioned to this really out there portrayal of the female form might have been because, for better or for worse, inspired by Freud and kind of some of his teachings and musings. They were in Vienna around the same time and most certainly had crossed paths, and so there is that speculation there that that sexualization was in his artwork had a number of different influences, and that could have been one of them. So I found that to be quite interesting. But yeah, so I have a couple notes here just about his final years, and then I have some notes about Lady with the Fan. So let's cut to another time lapse. We'll just check out some more progress that I was making earlier on this kit, just so you can see some color, some detail, how it's all coming together. And then when we come back, we'll kind of do our final segment, just talking about kind of the later life of Klimt, and like I said, a little bit about this artwork specifically. So let's cut over to it. Okie dokie. Well, I hope you enjoyed that last little clip there. I've moved on to my next color here, done with those ABs, so we're just going to start working through those. But yeah, just kind of wrapping up, this final chapter with Gustav Klimt and Lady with a Fan. Just a couple things to note as far as kind of Klimt's style, and once again, I'll try to include some photos, but he definitely had a very bohemian style. Rather than wearing, a suit or like a painter's quote-unquote outfit, he was often seen in a bright blue tunic, like a navy blue kind of robe, essentially a big old robe. So he definitely, in some of the black and white images, gives me kind of like monk vibes, but he's also got kind of a little squirreliness to him. Like you can see some life in his face and in his expressions. There's a couple really cute pictures of him and his cat, which I thought was really cute. So he was just a very free-spirited kind of person. And as far as his personal life, he operated much the same way. He was a lifelong bachelor. He did have a very long-term partner, Emily, I think it's Flo. She's listed as his partner for over a decade, but it doesn't really show if that was continuous, if they were on again, off again. They did not have any kids or children and did not marry, so I'm not sure, what their relationship situation was. It might have been it's complicated, but she is listed as being kind of like a lifelong partner. So I'm just gonna refill my mud here, and we can keep going. I am a pretty hard presser when I diamond paint, so I tend to, after a while, with both my single and multi-placer, I need to stab a little bit more putty or wax, in this case the Mary Mud, just to kind of top it off a little bit. That way I can keep multi-placing without. Okay, sorry about that. For some reason, I lost you there for a minute, but I hope we're back. But yeah, I continued to chat, and then I realized that we weren't recording. But yeah, I replaced the the putty in my multi-placer. But yeah, I just wanted to cover kind of the last couple of things in regards to Gustav Klimt, and then also touch on this particular image itself, Lady with a Fan. So we were talking about Emily Flo, partner for a number of years, not married, no kids. We talked about the bright blue tunic. But yeah, he spent his, Gustav Klimt spent his final years working on what is described as like anatomical depictions or illustrations, maybe just used for the exercise of experimenting, seeing what he could make. But I mean, some of the images that I saw, at the time they were considered, pornographic, and I would tend to agree they're a little bit more intensely sexual than some of his other stuff. So he was definitely once again trying to push the envelope, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just yet another transition for that artist. So. Yeah, they showed a couple of them on a documentary. I was like, oh wow, he really went for it. But that's the transition that he made there towards the end of his career. He did also take under his wings a number of young artists of the area and of the time, kind of towards the end of his life/career. Including Egon Schiele. He is often regarded as one of the fathers of Expressionism. Had a very, from what the short research I did on him, a very short and tenuous life, but walked away creating some very powerful, impactful artwork that helped to spark the Expressionism movement. And he was heavily inspired by Klimt, and it's pretty apparent in a few of the images or pieces that I did see from Egon. So Gustav Klimt passed away in 1918. That was the same year that he completed Lady with the Fan, so this was one of his final works that he did. And even though this particular piece isn't as celebrated or often mentioned as much as Woman in Gold or The Kiss, I think it has a lot of the same feelings and vibes, but it's a little bit more bright. It's a little bit more, summery. I want to use the word hopeful for some reason, and that doesn't speak to the theming of this, but I really like this image. I like a lot of his kind of gold era stuff, but this one is really cool. So like I said, this is one of his final pieces with the focus on those bright yellows, golds, pops of colors. They could be seen here in this image, and these types of kind of general, really bright, colorful, vibrant images were especially popular during the time because of the advancements in technology with printing and poster making. They were able to start to pull some more of these vibrant colors through and have a true representation of the original artwork. Not as obviously as great as we have now, but definitely more than they had in years and decades past. So these very intensely colored images just translated really well to printed marketing, to posters, and so this would be a very marketable image from a financial standpoint, in addition to it being just really pretty. So I don't have a ton of details. There's not a lot of documentaries or easily found in-depth research on Lady with a Fan compared to The Kiss or Woman in Gold. So I don't know if this was commissioned by a company or by a private owner or... Oh, the wind's picking up and it shut our door. I'm not quite sure what the, who this originally went to. I'm also not sure if this image is still in existence or if this was destroyed during wartime. I wasn't able to pull a ton about this particular image. Like I said, his other gold era artwork pieces were a little bit more of the focal point with a lot of these articles and stuff. So, but yeah, one other thing that I thought was really interesting about this piece that I kind of didn't notice until I took a good look at it and read it is The Art Nouveau movement was heavily inspired and influenced by Japanese culture, both in fashion and artwork style and theming. And that just got kind of brought over to this European Art Nouveau movement and just kind of used wholesale in their stylings. And for better or for worse, and this image definitely falls into that category of kind of appropriating, maybe is the right word for it, in the sense that our figure here, and I'll put in another screenshot of this image, our figure here is wearing what I originally thought was a dress, but it's more maybe accurately a robe, and if not, a kimono. So that kind of opened my eyes were open to that. And then of course the fan also in and of itself, often depicted in Japanese artwork for ages. So a lot of inspiration being pulled from that area, not only in the Art Nouveau movement as a whole, but especially this image, which I kind of didn't even think about until it was brought to my attention. So I found that to be quite interesting. But yeah, that's kind of everything I had in regards to a very shallow dive into the life and times of Gustav Klimt, as well as this piece, Lady with a Fan. And I hope that you enjoyed it. I love putting these types of little whip and chats together. I've done them in the past, and we'll get to do another one for Ernst Haeckel. He is the artist or illustrator responsible for my cross-stitch conversion project I'm doing for summer with the masters. So we'll get to do another, shallow dive into Ernst Haeckel. I don't know how much is going to be available to us for that one. I think that one's a little bit more niche, whereas, Gustav Klimt is such a prolific artist. Tons of information about him available. So I'm curious to see how that one's going to go. But I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it sparks some interest for you. I find that doing research and maybe listening to a podcast episode about the art or artist that I'm working with or working on, a YouTube video, anything, even reading an article before or after I'm working on a kit, I find that it brings me closer to the piece that I'm working on. I feel like I get kind of transported to the times when I'm listening to what it was like for that artist, of like what the social scene was like in their local pub or their local bar, and just it really helps to paint a picture, and it makes you feel like you're there. You're working with the kit and you're listening to what the artist was doing day to day. It's just such a fun way to make working on a kit feel a little bit more intimate and personal and interesting. So I hope you agree and you enjoyed that little tale. If you've watched my previous videos in preparation for Summer with the Masters, you may know that I'm recording a lot of this content in advance, so I have some time to review it and edit it. Give me some more flexibility with filming throughout the event. So I'm going to actually cut over to future Anthony, who is going to have some more event-specific details that past Anthony might not be privy to because things haven't been announced yet or confirmed yet. So he'll have some more information, especially when it comes to weekly giveaways and that type of thing. So you're going to want to stick around for future Anthony because he's probably got some good stuff for you. He's not just nerding out about Gustav Klimt. So, but I will just thank you, past Anthony. Thanks you for watching along and listening along. If you have any questions, comments about Gustav Klimt, or any nuggets of information that you might have about Gustav Klimt, or maybe nuggets of information about the artist or times or artwork that you're working on for the event, make sure to leave that in the comments so we can engage. I'd love to hear what you know or what you need to know. Otherwise, I'll just say a quick thanks. I'll let future Anthony do the formal goodbye, but I'll do a quick thanks, and I'm looking forward to sharing this next little dive into Ernst Haeckel with you in the coming weeks, okay? We'll see you next time, but stick around, but past Anthony, we'll see you next time, okay? Okie dokie. So, yeah, thank you, past Anthony, Gustav Klimt, rundown Anthony. It's been a few days since I filmed that last clip, so I just wanted to jump in and talk a little bit about our giveaways that we're going to have not only this week, but throughout the event. So just some general information, then we'll get specific about week 2, which is today. So Katie and I will be doing giveaways each week of the event and announcing our winners on our own channels. So those of you that enter for this week, my week, I'll announce those winners on my next video, which is week 4 of Summer with the Masters. So just keep that in mind. If you are entering for a giveaway on my channel, you'll hear who the winners are on my channel. So just keep that in mind. We're super lucky to have some great sponsors this year who are all just as passionate about the genre of artwork, Old Masters, as we are. So that's super, super cool. And make sure to check out the sponsor list that's linked in the description box. Discount codes will be there, specialty items for Summer with the Masters that these shops are offering up. A lot of cool stuff and a lot of really great sponsors, so make sure to check that out. But as for this particular week, I have 2 giveaways up for offer. So the first is going to be an amazing kit from Distracted by Diamonds. This is titled Composition Monumentale by Auguste Urbin. So I'm... It's so awesome to have this kit to offer up because this is actually the first sneak peek kit that I ever did with Distracted by Diamonds last year, and I got to do an entire week-long series focused on Auguste Urbin and this particular artwork. So I went to one of the art museums here in town. We went shopping for French cheeses. It was just an absolute blast. It's probably one of the highlights of my entire time diamond painting was doing that first week-long series. So if you want to see a sneak peek of that image, see it come together, learn about the artist, and see a finish, I will link I'll link the sneak peek video, if I can remember, into the description box so you can go take a look. But that kit, I'll also put a picture of it up on the screen. That kit is going to be the first giveaway that I'll be doing. Distracted by Diamonds is just such an incredible, incredible shop run by Robin. She is just so sweet and kind and really has a taste for some unique images. So usually when she does an Old Masters, it's a really cool one. So make sure to check out Distracted by Diamonds for some Old Masters kits if you're still looking to snag one, or a whole bunch of other really awesome images that can be worked on throughout the year. So that's the first giveaway. The second one that I'm going to be offering up is a tray and cover minder set from Amazing Craft Shop. So Amazing Craft Shop is a relatively new small shop that just opened up on Etsy a few weeks ago or about a month ago, and they have some really cool resin cover minders, pen holders, trays, a lot of really fun resin-based goods to use for your crafting and diamond painting endeavors. And there's even some custom options there as well. So this particular set that we're offering up is going to be a cover minder and tray set that's going to be themed around Old Masters. So you'll get kind of surprised when you do receive it, but it is going to be themed around just the general theming of Old Masters. So I'm really cool to see what that ends up looking like. I just ordered my very first custom pen holder from Amazing Craft Shop, so I'm really looking forward to getting that, and I'll absolutely be doing an unboxing as soon as it arrives. But I'll be offering up that tray and cover minder set as my second giveaway. So something to keep in mind is the Distracted by Diamonds kit is only available to US participants. However, the tray and cover minder set from Amazing Craft Shop is open to international. So if we draw 2 international winners for these prizes, then, or we draw an international winner for the Distracted by Diamonds kit, we may have to redraw. So just keep that in mind. One's international, one's not, but we will get that all taken care of on the back end. So to enter, you'll need to do 2 things for me. The first thing is to complete the event registration form. It's linked down there in the description box. You only need to complete this Google form one time, just one time. The only time that you might need to change that or fill it out again is if you do have a change of address while the event is running, because we're gonna pull your address from that form to ship your stuff out rather than having to hunt everyone down and all that stuff. So the address on your form is the address where any prizes or giveaways will be received. So keep that in mind. But you don't need to fill this out every single week, every time you see a video. If you've completed it one time between June 1st and July 31st, then you are good to go. But yeah, so there's that. The other thing that I'll need you to do is going to be specific to this video. So each time I put up a Summer with the Masters, week 2, week 4, week 6, week 8 video, each one of those will have a question at the end that you'll answer in the comments, and that's how you get picked for the giveaway. So all I need from you is a comment on this video. And this week's question is, I'd like to know, what fact about Gustav Klimt did you learn? Or if you're already a total Gustav Klimt fanatic or a total whiz about his life and history, what's your favorite piece by Gustav Klimt? So either what did you learn, or what's your favorite piece of artwork from Gustav Klimt? So leave that in the comments. That'll be how I pick the winners for this week's giveaways. So yeah, the comments will be open through June 21st. That's Wednesday, June 21st at 11:59 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And that'll make sure that you're eligible for the giveaways. And I'm going to be announcing the winners on my next video, which will be going up on Saturday, June 24th. So 2 weeks from today, you'll hear the winners from this video, and then we'll do another round. So that's pretty much it. I want to once again thank the sponsors so much for being so generous with their giveaways, with their discount codes, with the specialty items. It really means a lot, and it gives a lot of people an opportunity to maybe try some stuff that they didn't already have or didn't really know about. So thank you to all the sponsors, and thank you to all the participants. This has been amazing so far. It was so exciting to see the stuff that came up during week 1, Katie's first video. And of course, I'll be making sure to link her channel, so you can pop over there and take a look at what she's got going on for the event too. So I think that's all I have. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this content with friends, family members, anyone that you think might take some value out of it, anyone that you know is participating in the event and maybe didn't know that there was going to be giveaways involved. But yeah, otherwise, outside of that, happy placing, and we'll see you next time. Bye, 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 bye. Bye.